Welcome, everyone. My name is Tracy Anderson. I'm the Communications Director here at Impart Alliance. Today, we're joined by Dr. Clare Luz. Dr. Clare Luz is our director here at Impart Alliance, and she is going to talk a little bit about the history of our organization and where we started and where we're going.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm glad to be here and have this opportunity to tell people about Impart Alliance. First of all, we are housed in the College of Osteopathic Medicine here at Michigan State University. And our primary goal really is to help the state expand and support the direct care workforce in response to a critical shortage of direct care workers. And we are doing that by trying to increase economic security and respect for direct care workers through higher wages and benefits, professionalization, culture change, and policy reforms.
Okay.
So our really start was back in 2010. I and several other people, including a rep from the Office of Services to the Aging, received a grant from the federal government, HRSA, to develop and test a comprehensive training program for personal care aides. This was part of a 6-state demonstration. We did develop this training program, and it was called Building Training, Building Quality, or BTBQ for short. And we had a robust evaluation component. And then in 2016, we received a grant from the Health Endowment Fund, and that's when we officially became Impart Alliance and started using that name. And the goal of that grant and several subsequent ones was to expand the training programs and scale them up so that they could be offered statewide. And we were ready to do that. Everything was ready to take off. And then COVID hit. So in 2020, things changed quite a bit, some for the better, though. In 2020, another milestone happened. The director of the State Office of Services to the Aging decided to establish a statewide direct care workforce advisory committee, and she asked me to co-chair it, which I did and I still do. And that was a remarkable opportunity to bring advocates and people within state government and allies across the state together to address the critical shortage of direct care workers together. And we assembled an amazing, really inclusive group of people that represented the aging world, the disability world, leaders in major associations across the entire state, direct care workers, family members, very inclusive, diverse group of people. And we did something remarkable. We sat down and we started talking to each other. And we started breaking down barriers and silos. And we found some common language, some common challenges, some common goals, and started pulling in the same direction, which has allowed us to establish an amazing, deep network of people working on this challenging situation and to achieve some significant gains on behalf of direct care workers in the state of Michigan. So we have, throughout that whole process, we have emerged as one of the state's leading authorities on direct care workers. And over the last 4 years, we have been able to serve as the neutral convener, the group that is coordinating all of these efforts.
That is so exciting to see Michigan taking the lead on this, because in reality, this is not, the direct care worker shortage is not unique to Michigan. All states are facing shortages in this area, and it's such a key area we need to work on. So you yourself started off as a direct care worker, correct?
This is true, yes. Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us a little bit about that? And maybe is that kind of what started to build your passion for working in this field? And
yes, absolutely. I had always had an affinity for older adults. I felt more comfortable around them, enjoyed their company. I also always, since I was very young, was service-driven, particularly interested in engaging in work related to social justice issues and focusing in on some marginalized populations. So I was fortunate in that by training and experience as a direct care worker, I was able to zero in my energy on lifting up frail, older adults, and the individuals that provide services to them. So I started out at MSU. My bachelor's is in social work from MSU. And I started out in child development, and my last semester took MSU's one and only class that was aging related, and I was hooked. And I spent the next 20 years as a social worker, all in direct care, all in long-term supportive services. And at some point, I decided I really wanted to make a difference at a much higher level and affect systems, because a lot of the problems in nursing homes, home care, hospice care are systems problems. And I wanted to be able to conduct policy relevant research and really make a difference on a much broader scale. And that is what brought me to MSU.
So you went back to school?
Went back to school, got my Ph.D. in gerontology, and then started doing some consulting work. And fortunately, I moved back to Michigan and got a job here at MSU. And now I'm able to engage. I feel very privileged and fortunate to be able to engage in the work that I really set out to do in the first place. And it's been an incredible journey.
How rewarding to see all of that come full circle for
Absolutely.
you in your career.
Really rewarding. And rewarding to be able to build this network and this team and see it all come to fruition and know that it has a strong future, that we're in a position now to really keep this going and really make a difference.
Mm-hmm. How do you define direct care worker? Because I know there's a lot of terms out there, and so not everybody might associate that to what you define it. So I was just curious if you would share that.
Sure. You're right. Direct care workers go by many, many names. Direct support professional, personal care aide, home help assistant, on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has a different idea of what a direct care worker is. And it became really early on when we formed the Direct Care Workforce Advisory Committee that we needed to start with a common definition of what a direct care worker is, which we managed to come up with a definition. It took us about 2 years to do it. It's very inclusive. We wanted to make sure that all of the providers could see their settings, their programs in that definition. So it is, typically it's known, direct care workers are known for providing personal hands-on care. So the activities of daily living, like bathing and dressing, the instrumental activities of daily living, like cooking and cleaning and shopping. But they really are engaged in other types of work as well, anywhere from being a job coach in a community living setting all the way to 24/7 hands-on care in a hospice setting.
Mm-hmm. And I think, too, some common misconceptions that direct care workers only help seniors or older adults, whereas a direct care worker could actually help anybody facing life circumstances, because we all know life just happens sometimes. And if you have a child who suddenly becomes disabled or injured, a spouse maybe, or significant other who has a stroke of some sort, or any other event where you need to have a direct care worker to kind of come in and help fill the gap on care. So could you talk a little bit about how you've managed to kind of explain that this is bigger than just the seniors and older adults of Michigan?
Yeah, absolutely. That is one of our Impart Alliance's evolutionary points. At some point, we realized we wanted to appeal to the broader population of older adults and people living with disabilities of all kinds, of all ages. And we are interested in well-being across the whole lifespan and supporting the caregivers of people who need support across the whole lifespan. And we have had some remarkable opportunities to amplify that message through not only the Direct Care Workforce Advisory Committee, because the definition of a direct care worker that I just talked about, we wanted to make sure that people in the disability community could see themselves in that as well. We invited people from the disability community to be part of this committee, and it has been a wonderful experience to sort of break down that silo and have the aging world and the disability world begin to work together for some common goals. Another thing that happened in 2020 is we established the statewide direct care workforce coalition.
Yes.
And that is huge. It makes a ton of difference in terms of advocacy, because we started out with about 50 members and we now have about 1,900 on our email list.
1,900 members across the state of Michigan.
Yeah, and membership is basically just being on our email list.
Right.
But it gives you an idea of how important this is to a lot of people across the state. And the beauty of a coalition is that you can organize people quickly for policy reforms and educate and have bi-directional communication. And we have made sure that that coalition has a broad range of representatives, from including people in the disability world, so that when we send out a policy alert or an action alert to maybe increase the wages of a direct care worker, we can send it to that whole coalition. And we can get the message out and we can have consistent messaging. We can be calling direct care workers the same thing, so that when the policymakers get these phone calls from their constituency, they're hearing the same thing from that many people.
Well, Impart Alliance received a number of grants over the years to build to what we are today. And recently, Michigan State has been awarded $25 million from the state of Michigan to help support the direct care workforce here in Michigan. So tell me what that means to you. You're leading that effort, and I'm sure there's a lot of goals and everything behind that.
Yes, there definitely is. It is a big deal, not just for Impart Alliance, but also for the state of Michigan. It is a game changer, truly. And I should mention, it's from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and it's using American Rescue Plan Act funds, so ARPA funds. And it really is an unprecedented game changer. It's allowing us to implement a statewide, thoughtful, comprehensive, strategic plan to address the direct care workforce shortage. It's allowing us to implement 14 recommendations, policy recommendations that the advisory committee developed over a 2-year period and sent to the state and was adopted by the state. It's allowing us to pilot really creative strategies that are exciting to improve recruitment and retention of direct care workers across the entire state in really unimaginable ways. We couldn't have seen this coming even 2 years ago. So it is really, truly exciting. And I am taking the lead. Impart Alliances. Our role is to be the convener, to bring all of this deep network of relationships and partnerships with state government, with colleagues across the state together, to do this work together. So we're the conveners. We're trying to coordinate all of these efforts. We do have a big work plan, a lot of deliverables. So, and I can give you one example.
Sure, thank you.
That's pretty fun, a lot of fun. About 2 months ago or so, we did issue a request for proposals, an RFP, to employers of direct care workers across the state to ask for funding to support novel recruitment and retention strategies that maybe we haven't tried before. And we expected to get about 50 to 75 applications, and we got about 4 shy of 900.
Wow.
900 applications. It's stunning, right?
I think that speaks to not just the need, but the passion behind these leaders applying across the state for funds to support direct care workers.
Absolutely. It's a great, stunning testimony to the creative energy and ideas that people across the whole state have that have never been tapped. So We just last week announced 26 grantees who will be receiving a total of just over $4 million
Of the grant.
from the grant, from the bigger $25 million grant. And again, it represents a whole wide range of employers in the disability world, in the aging world, and employers that are a big organization all the way down to small organizations that have 3 or 4 employees. So I am really excited about this. I believe that it's going to be amazing to watch these projects get started and evolve and see where they take us. And the ripple effect is going to change the face of direct care work and long-term supports and services in Michigan for years and years to come. So just stay tuned. The ideas are exciting. Some, people have asked what kinds of projects are represented, and it's removing barriers to being a successful direct care worker, such as tuition assistance or childcare or transportation, and also being able to start recruiting among non-traditional populations to increase the number of direct care workers, and including among veterans and immigrants and high school students and retirees. And so stay tuned. We're going to follow the progress of each one of these projects and be featuring them in our monthly newsletter and podcasts. And
Yes.
so exciting things ahead.
Absolutely. And it's so neat to see the collective effort across the state. Just all these different areas, like you said, small, medium, and large organizations working on their specific projects and contributing to helping the direct care workforce in a number of different ways. And we'll be featuring many of those stories on our website, impartalliance.msu.edu. So stay tuned. We're very excited to make some visits over the summer and into the fall to some of these different organizations to showcase their projects and how they're impacting direct care workers. So, Claire, thank you so much for your time today. This was great. Just wanted a quick overview of Impart Alliance and to hear from our leader and talk a little bit about the impact that you hope to have here soon.
Yeah, well, thank you for the opportunity, and I would like to extend an invite to everybody across the state. We have grantees up in the UP, too, up in the UP. So it's a really amazing time to be part of this. We're privileged to be taking the lead on it, but we understand it's a huge, huge team effort, and we're inviting people to join us and hang on for the ride.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
Thank you.